You think every MMA fighter looks like an action hero? Not even close. Some of the deadliest killers in the cage look like they belong in a coding class. And one of them, he once went viral for choking out a drunk guy in a pizza shop without dropping his slice. First up, Ryan Hall.
The true purpose of martial arts is being able to defend yourself and whatnot and all of these other things in real life, yes, because let's say you win an ADCC gold medal, but you get slapped around by someone bigger and stronger than you at a bar. That people will talk about how sweet that gold medal is, but for the rest of your life, it'll feel pretty hollow. That wouldn't, that's not what we're looking for.
Ryan Hall began training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in 2004 after getting routinely outclassed in grappling classes at a local MMA gym. When he first started martial arts, he was an electrical engineering student. He looked less like a future UFC fighter and more like a guy who you would call the fix your Wi-Fi. Hall quickly fell in love with Jiu-Jitsu, eventually dropping out of school to train full-time. His competitive rise was meteoric. He earned multiple world titles on the world stage and gained a reputation as one of the most dangerous submission artists in the world. In 2010, Hall earned his black belt under Felipe Costa and opened his gym 50/50 Jiu-Jitsu. His coaching was exactly what you'd expect from an engineer: methodical, obsessive, and as precise as a grad student studying algorithms.
I'll block and move, and if you move your hand inside of my ground, I'm like, whoa. And I will actually guide myself through.
While his jiu-jitsu resume earned him respect in the grappling world, Hall went viral when footage showed him calmly subduing an aggressive drunk in a pizza shop, gently choking him out and laying him down like a napping toddler after trying to de-escalate.
I'll bite your nose off, dude. I have gotten 302'd 4 times. Joe, I've been to the mental institution 4 fucking times. Try. Go.
You might need to back off. Ryan.
Come on.
He's not gonna hurt him.
I'm not gonna hurt him.
Hall transitioned to MMA full-time in 2012, earning a UFC contract by winning The Ultimate Fighter Season 22.
The new Ultimate Fighter, Ryan Hall.
His signature moment came in 2018 when he became the first to submit BJ Penn, hitting a slick Imanari roll into a heel hook that forced a tap in just over 2 minutes and earned Submission of the Year honors.
That's his signature move, and he's done that in every fight he's had, and he rolls to it. That's the reason people don't want to fight him, though. Yeah.
Another dominant win over Darren Elkins now had Hall riding an impressive 4-fight winning streak in the UFC, and he was quickly becoming a cult favorite amongst MMA fans. Hall returned in 2021 to face rising star Ilia Topuria. While Topuria was the favorite, his utilization of Imanari rolls, spinning kicks, unpredictable movement had some believing he could pull off the upset. Early on, it looked possible.
This is the idea behind it. There's diving, he's a handle. Like, look what he's doing here. This is why.
But during a scramble, Topuria capitalized, landing a brutal first-round knockout that shut down any chance of a Hall resurgence.
He wasn't being defensively responsible.
Yeah.
And as we said about Tapuria's head,
So now Hall can't roll.
Hall bounced back later that year with a dominant win over Derek Minner, but has been sidelined with injuries and has focused more on coaching. Whether or not the Wizard ever steps into the octagon again, one thing's for sure: he may come off like a soft-spoken geek, but give him a reason and he'll tie you in knots before you know what happened. If Ryan Hall proved brains can beat brawn, Roxanne Modafferi proved you can do it while cosplaying as an anime hero.
I've really accomplished my dream. Like, my dream wasn't to become champion, it was to fight in the UFC. Like, I was a 21-year-old kid and with this dream. So now that I was finally able to quit my job and make a living off of my fight money for a while, like, it's just such a dream come true.
As a kid, Roxanne Modafferi was more into Sailor Moon than sparring, but after her parents' divorce, she found martial arts and never looked back. While studying in Japan, she took her first pro fight on short notice and won by armbar. Despite early success and a cult following overseas, a rough losing streak nearly ended her career. Watching the rise of women's MMA from afar, she broke down, not out of jealousy, but heartbreak. Still, she kept going. Returning to the US for the Ultimate Fighter 18, she stood out for both her veteran skills and upbeat, quirky vibe.
If I was ever gonna make a run and try to do something awesome with myself for MMA, I need to go back now.
She would talk anime, make goofy faces, and geek out over her favorite shows. Though she lost in the finale, she moved to Las Vegas, revamped her game, and built a career out of upsetting prospects and testing top contenders. Modafferi quietly built one of the most respected resumes in WMMA. One of her standout moments came as a nearly 10-1 underdog when she dominated the undefeated Macy Barber in a lopsided upset. She'd often walk into battle with braided pigtails or themed gear, proudly wearing her fandom on her sleeve and reminding fans that being tough and being yourself weren't mutually exclusive. Modafferi retired in 2022 with 45 pro fights, which is still the most in women's MMA history.
I gave everything that I had, and it's time for me to pass the torch to the next generation, and I'm proud of myself, and even if you don't win every time, you can still have an amazing time.
Her 25-20 record hides a resume filled with killers. Roxanne proved you don't need to look the part to be a problem in the cage. But the next guy, Chase Hooper, was putting grown men to sleep before he could legally drink.
Yeah, this is a little bit of blood. I was really surprised. I've never actually cut anybody before. That first elbow from the mount just split him open, and yeah, he started leaking all over me. I had some on my elbow, cleaned it up because I didn't want to get any, AIDS blood or anything on me, so.
Chase Hooper looked more like a science club president than a fighter, with a tall, pale frame, mop of curls, and a baby face. But by 20, the teenage dream was in the UFC, choking out doubts as fast as opponents. Hooper embraced the underdog role. Fans called him Ben Askren's long-lost son for his haircut, grappling-heavy style, and awkward charm.
But I felt bad.
Dude, I told you I was doing a show.
That's what you get for Bogart and I'm down here. You kept the door open too.
Dude, get the keys and get out of here.
Who is this? Is that your son?
Freaking kids, right? I told you I'm doing a podcast. Leave me alone.
That's your son?
Yeah.
You're joking, right?
No. I mean, I don't talk about it a lot, but yeah, I had a kid when I was in high school.
You're kidding.
What are you doing?
Just hanging out with my homie
Chase, there's no chickens allowed in the house.
No, I wanted to be inside. It's cold out there.
No, they have a coop. There's 10 of them out there.
But once the cage door shut, the fun stopped. In his UFC debut, Hooper overwhelmed Daniel Tamer with pressure and ground and pound for a first-round TKO. Awkward outside the cage, but relentless inside it, this wiry nerd had arrived, and fans quickly realized the kid with the comic book energy and shy grin could seriously fight. Then came the reality checks. Hooper dropped decisions to vets like Alex Caceres and Steven Peterson, then suffered a quick, brutal TKO loss to Steve Garcia. After the Garcia loss, many believed Hooper had hit his ceiling. His soft-spoken interviews and gangly frame didn't help. Chase still looked like he'd wandered out of a computer lab and accidentally signed up for a fistfight, but instead of backing down, he bulked up, moved to lightweight, and came back with a mean streak. The transformation showed right away. Hooper battled Nick Fiore with over 150 significant strikes, displaying a new level of aggression. He then tapped out Jordan Levitt with ease, setting up a high-stakes clash with dangerous striker Vyacheslav Borshev. Hooper's breakout came against feared striker Vyacheslav Borshev in what was Hooper's most complete and dominant performance. A looping left dropped the Russian, vicious ground and pound ballooned his face, and a quick Darce choke in round 2 ended the fight.
Chase Hooper is a contender. I'm telling you, at 24 years old, clearly getting better and better. A tough stylistic matchup.
Since beating Borshev, Hooper has kept momentum going, racking up wins over veterans like Clay Guida and Jim Miller. Once seen as comic relief, he's now a legit contender. Still nerdy, still quirky, but now a 6'1" lightweight with 6 UFC finishes. He's no longer just a nerd with good grappling. Hooper is a serious problem. He looked harmless, but he was putting grown men to sleep. I know the real MMA fans will sound off in the comments. Who surprised you the most, and who else belongs on this list? If you think he doesn't look like a fighter, wait until you meet the dad bod legend who created his own grappling style, Ben Funky Askren.
Multiple times where my heart stopped for more than 20 seconds. There was one time where the nurse told my wife that Amy, the kid's gonna come to the hospital, and she got there, and the nurse was really sad. She's like, Ben's dead. Ben's dead.
I'm flying to the moon with you tonight. I am Ben Shark, do. I'm Ben Shark, do. I'm Ben Shark, do. They call me Funk.
Ben Askren looked more like a laid-back math tutor than a fighter, sporting curly hair, flip-flops, and a full-on dad bod. But behind the grin was one of the most dominant grapplers of his era. Askren was a wrestling phenom, a 2-time NCAA champ and 4-time finalist at Mizzou, going 87-0 in his final 2 seasons and winning the Dan Hodge Trophy twice. Known for his funky scrambling and offbeat humor, he capped his amateur career with a spot on the 2008 U.S. Olympic team. After the Olympics, Askren brought his quirky wrestling style to MMA. His striking was awkward, his build soft, and he looked more like a substitute science teacher than a title contender. But once he got his hands on you, it was game over. He dominated in Bellator and won championship, capturing welterweight titles in both and retiring briefly at 18-0. Still, his grind-heavy style wasn't for everyone. Critics called it boring, accusing him of lay and pray.
Your fights are still boring.
But Askren leaned in, becoming a master troll with nerdy charm and deadpan wit.
I was wondering if I'm ever gonna make the UFC. I keep winning everything. They said I was the champ in Bellator, but was too damn boring. Hello, Dana, hear me?
I said, I don't want to say I'm done, period. I said I'm done, excluding the fact that I get to fight and prove I'm number 1. That would be the excluding factor.
So if you could get in the UFC, you'd be willing to do it again?
I mean, I don't care where it is.
He returned in a blockbuster UFC trade for Demetrius Johnson and edged Robbie Lawler in a wild debut. But the hype train derailed fast. Askren was knocked out in 5 seconds by Jorge Masvidal, a UFC record.
The fastest knockout in UFC history.
After a follow-up loss to Damian Maia, he retired at 19-2 with 1 no contest. Even post-retirement, Askren stayed in the spotlight. He was knocked out by Jake Paul in a boxing match, then survived a life-threatening bout with pneumonia that required a double lung transplant. Somehow, he walked away from that too.
I don't remember anything from May 28th to July 2. So I only died 4 times, right, where the ticker stopped for about 20 seconds. Man, that was a battle. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. It's been tough, not only on me but my whole family and my close community.
Askren looked like a dad at a barbecue and still ran through world-class fighters. But our next fighter on this list was fixing networks one day and knocking out a UFC champ the next. If you love crazy MMA stories about fighters that defy expectations, hit subscribe. We've got even more coming. If there's an MMA Hall of Fame for nerds, Joe Lauzon is a lock. A mild-mannered IT guy with a computer science degree, he balanced coding and combat, fixing networks by day and finishing fights by night. His UFC debut in 2006. Still working IT, Lauzon shocked the world by knocking out former lightweight champ Jens Pulver in just 48 seconds. The quiet tech guy was suddenly a full-time fighter.
Unbelievable! Has upset Jens Pulver! That is the biggest upset of the night! Jens Pulver was a 7-1 favorite for this fight!
What followed was a career fueled by the same traits that made him a great programmer: problem-solving, patience, and grit. After earning a UFC spot via The Ultimate Fighter, Lauzon became a bonus machine, tying for third most post-fight awards in UFC history. His jiu-jitsu shined with 17 submission wins, and his resume included all-action wars with Jim Miller, a shocking upset of Melvin Gillard, and a perfect hometown finish against Jonathan Pierce. Joe's legacy, he proved the quiet guy from tech support might be the one who chokes you out cold. Our next guy, he's a pizza-obsessed, Pokemon-loving nerd who makes a living destroying people's knees.
I've always just felt a little different than the other kids I was around, so I always just wanted to fit in and feel normal. So I'd always wish I could just be like everyone else, but I just felt different. I pretty much battled depression my whole life also, so those are pretty much the hardships I've dealt with, and jiu-jitsu helped me so much overcome those things.
Mikey Musumeci might be the most wholesome assassin in grappling, a bespectacled, Pokemon-loving computer science nerd with a soft-spoken voice and curly hair. He looks more like your anime-obsessed classmate than a 5-time BJJ world champ. But once the match starts, it's game over.
You got him.
Mikey started training at age 4. While other kids learned long division, he was mastering calf slicers. By 18, he'd earned his black belt under Gilbert Burns and Jonathan Gurgel. His slick, modern style makes him a nightmare to deal with. Even heavier opponents can't hold him down. He slips around and strangles them with a grin. In one championship, he was branded as Darth Rigatoni for his love of Italian food. His dominance there helped spark a surge of interest in competitive jiu-jitsu, even leading the UFC to launch its own grappling league where Mikey became the inaugural bantamweight champ. Mikey has been an outspoken advocate for natural athletes, speaking out against PED use and staying clean even when it made him a target.
I'll start a match with the people on steroids and I'll be like, what the He feels like a rock. So I knew that if I used my mind against theirs, my mind is always going to be stronger than theirs. And it made it even more special to me knowing that those people are all cheating.
Let me just make an example, okay?
Yeah.
So Gordon Ryan's 1 year older than me.
Yeah.
He looks like he's 40. Are we the same? Are we 1 year apart? Like, how is that possible?
In a world where muscle often outweighs morals,
my muscles are getting bigger.
Mikey stayed true to himself. Even after snapping legs with heel hooks, he's the guy who apologizes mid-match and puts his glasses on for the post-fight interview.
My opponent talked a lot of crap about me for about 4 years. And he's a beast. He got second at ADCC, right? I respect him so much. Then he did something very personal to me involving family. That's when I got angry. And that's why I fought him today. 4 years ago, I had COVID. The promoter forced me to do this event with COVID. I did it, I lost, but everyone talking crap. Oh, you couldn't beat him. There's no way. He's a division heavier than you. I just submitted him easy as
At just 27, Musumeci is expanding what's possible in jiu-jitsu, both technically and culturally. He's proof the anime-watching, linguine-eating underdog can be the most dangerous guy in the room. But that's exactly what makes them dangerous. If you're into stories about fighters who completely break the mold, you're gonna love what's in store. Next up, the wildest, most unhinged origins of MMA, where there were no rules, no gloves, and no weight classes.
False life that we live on social media where everyone's just trying to look how happy they are, how amazing their lives are. It's so fake, and that makes even people feel even darker. So when I talk about depression, my obstacles, I want to show everyone that I'm battling things every day. Not more than anyone else. Everyone's battling their things in their life, but I just want to show that I'm battling them and I'm still out there competing. And you could overcome everything that you have in your life as an obstacle.